She's a proud alumna of the Cybergirls 1.0 and Technovation and gained VAS Student Ambassador, where
This call is
with
now
other
being
ambassadors
transcribed.
they help fellow students create robust tech communities and develop technical and career skills for the future. She's passionate about technology and giving back to her community, which is why she founded aquber, a startup that offers tech mentoring and on-demand tech skills through courses and hosts conferences, bootcamps, and webinars. And also the Cloud Maven's Cyber Academy, which is a platform that provides cybersecurity education for beginners. She's a dedicated and motivated individual who believes that with excuse me anything is possible. With hard work and continuous learning, anything is possible. So, guys, if you're not too busy, use the emojis, clap. Um, there's a confetti emoji. There's the heart emoji. Just keep reacting. Keep giving out that emoji. Let's welcome Ononneobazi Ejemot Aquah to take the stage. Welcome, Ma.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Faith, for that wonderful introduction. So, welcome everybody. Good evening, everybody. I think Faith has done justice to my introduction, and I think I'll do introduction of myself. I'll introduce myself in Saturday's class when we meet during our physical session. But for today, we're going to just briefly go over what I have for this session, and then by the physical session, we'll do more. So one reason why I called for us to have our online session today is so that we have some sort of accountability, because I would have preferred if we met for the first time in a physical session. But I was thinking, okay, the last time you guys heard anything from anything about mentors or something was during the orientation, and you did not really meet your mentor. So I saw it wise that I saw it wise that we meet before the physical session, so that you guys know that what you're in for is not something that you're supposed to joke with. So okay. So from what I got, the information I got from the people who are in charge of you guys from Dahel Techies, we're already 2 weeks down, and following the syllabus, I think we're supposed to have gone over a few things as well. So let me just, yes. So in the meantime, how many are we on this call? Let me just be very sure. So I know that we are 24 on the group. So I decided to take out Faith, take out your organizers, and then myself. So we are supposed to be around 20 at least in this call from the WhatsApp group. Or we're not even up to 10. And we're not even up to, you guys are not even up to 8, because the organizers are here and I'm here as well. Okay. So let's try, and one thing I want is that we have a very interactive session, both online and offline, because if we make it too uptight, we may not, the information that's supposed to be passed will not be passed properly. So I'll need this session to be very interactive so that I'll also know how to meet your needs. I can see Nobet Asimita. I think I met you on Saturday. I don't know if you can unmute your mic so that we have a
Yes,
brief
we better.
interaction. Okay, so I've been looking for your number. So whether you just send a hi on the group so that I can send you DM. But how has it been going for you? I know you started the course already.
Yes, learning has been great. We have all the necessary support from our trainer, Mr. Dahel. So we've been well oriented as to our objectives, as to what we are supposed to expect
Okay.
from the course, as to how to make maximum use of our time, and how
Okay.
to glean all the information we require from our mentors. Also, as per the LinkedIn aspect, we for myself, I speak for myself. So I've started. I'm almost at the end. So also, I've also checked out your the interview you did with Dahel, the one on your wall. So I've also joined some online communities, and I've also joined junior analyst security too. So I'm going to start that module also so that I can progress
Okay.
with the course.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for sharing. Um, okay, so next person. I'll just take maybe three more people, then I'll now go over to what I have. So thank you, Nobet, for sharing. Blessing, Sunday, you joined on time. Can you share with us how the course has been going for you? Don't know if you can unmute your mic.
Good evening, everyone. So far,
Good
so
evening.
I've made progress in the course, and thanks to the health techies too. At least, should I say, I'm a beginner in tech skill, but so far, with the knowledge I've gained from other aspects, including the social training, so far, at least I'm gaining more knowledge, and I think with our first class today, I'll make more progress.
Okay, great, great, great. Thank you for sharing. That's nice to hear. Okay, next person. Daniel Osh. Can we hear from you? Don't know if you can unmute your mic. Okay, so if you cannot, you can make use of the chat section so that we don't waste any time. Who should we take next?
Okay,
Dimi
good evening,
Dom.
Daniel.
Okay, go
Good
ahead.
evening, Daniel. Okay, thank you for the opportunity. I think the training has been going well, and I enjoy every bit of it. Though I'm not a starter, I'm not a beginner, but it's a refresher course for me. Uh, and I think the real thing about the training we're about to start, fine. So I believe that everything is going well. Thank you. Hello.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Thank you, it's nice to hear. So, Abua and Dimi Dom Epu, I hope I pronounced your name properly. So, thank you for joining, and think maybe next time in our next online session we'll take you guys. So, for week one, we were supposed to go over our security handling techniques and also do some sort of ethical hacking simulation. Then there's also your assignments. Then there's week two, where you cover TCP, IP protocol analysis, and then cloud security workshop and all of that. So since we've already gone down week one and week two, what I'm going to do is at the end of this session, and especially because we're not many, I will drop. I don't know how I'm supposed to do it. If I'm supposed, okay, I think I will send it to Fit. I'll drop an assessment for you guys to do. Everybody has to do it, and everybody has to turn it in by Saturday. Saturday during our physical session. It's not going to be something too bulky. It won't be bulky, but it's going to be comprehensive. And I would need you to do that assessment because it would help me know that, okay, you're actually taking the course and you're progressing, you're understanding what you're doing. And in line with that, it's going to sharpen your research skills. So that one aside, I would need you guys to make use of the reactions now because unmuting your mic would be too noisy. So how many people know what cloud computing is? How many people know what cloud computing is? Because I think we're supposed to go over cloud security, but we can't go over cloud security if we don't understand what cloud computing is. So if you understand what cloud is, if you know what cloud is, you can raise your hand, indicate by raising your hand if you know what it is. Okay. Okay, I can see that Daniel and Nobet already said that they are not beginners. So that one aside, today we're
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
just
I just wanted to make an input, not really to answer what cloud computing is. Uh, I just wanted to say that can we get an outline before we progress? I think like so that we will know some students also can go ahead. So when we come to a class, it will be easier for us. An opinion. Sorry.
okay. Thank you for that. So I'll get back to you. I'll have to
All right.
discuss
Thank you.
with your yes. Yes. Yes, there's no
Okay.
problem.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. So I think we can just start the cloud training because I'm seeing cloud security workshop, cloud networks. So I'm just going to share with you guys the slides that I have for what it is. I guess I think you should even get the syllabus. So when we look at it, I'll send in the slides so that you can reference it later. And then I'll also send the assessment, the one that you guys will have to turn in on Saturday. Okay. So I'll need you guys to tell me, let me task no bets with it. No bets, please just unmute your mic and let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see my screen? Okay. So understanding the concept of cloud. Let's say, for instance, you're working as a tech professional and you're using services like Google Drive, you're using OneDrive, you're using Gmail, you're using Azure Sentinel, you're using an EC, you're deploying an EC2 instance, stuff like that. And for you in cybersecurity, definitely you're going to be using cloud services, and you're basically going to be using the internet. If you've created a Google Docs drive, a Word document before with Google Docs, if you've created a file with Google Docs, you would know that okay, peradventure, you don't need to click on any save button like how you do for Microsoft Word. When you leave and you come back, you can always resume from where you stopped. So that kind of stuff. Your data is saved on the cloud. Um, you can upload files. Let's just use that basic one. You can upload images to your Google Drive and save them. You can upload that certificate to your Google Drive and save it. So all those small cloud services. Now for people like a dear blessing who doesn't really have any tech background, it's very important that we understand cloud and how it works in the tech space, because you guys are going to learn about cloud security. You're going to learn about cloud security. And one thing that you should know before even knowing cloud security is the concept of the cloud, understand that, and then you now move over to cloud architecture, then move to cloud security and all of that. So what exactly is cloud? Well, to include things like Internet of Things, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. So all these are other areas like the IoT, ML, and the AI. There are other areas in the tech space, and cloud services also expand to provide these services in its network. So virtual machines are like spaces where you can also work. Um, I would I would just say like a virtual computer. Let's use that for instance. So let's say you can have your Windows operating system, your laptop is Windows operating system, and if you, with the help of a virtual machine installed on your system, you can also run a Linux operating system or another Windows operating system. So with time, when we get to perform hands-on with probably Linux operating system, you'd understand more on how virtual machines work. Then when you talk about storage, we talk about space. We just say that's basically what it means when you're talking about storage. So you know how I use the instance of uploading um pictures to your Google Drive, certificates to your Google Drive. So let's say for instance your laptop is full, you can always use that as an extra space. You can use it, you can save your work there. You can also even buy storage. So let's say, unlike your laptop, you know that when your laptop storage is full, you most likely have to delete stuff. When your phone storage is full, you have to delete it. But with cloud services, if your storage is full, you can buy it, and it's relatively cheap. Because I think the last time um I got around 10 gigabyte of space for 10,000 naira, or was it more? It was relatively cheap. I didn't expect it to be as cheap as it was. Then databases, people who are working in data analysis, like Mr. David will understand this one. Then there is networking. Now you know how I don't know, Mr. Mr. Asimita and Mr. Daniel would know how everybody sings about networking and how it's important in tech. So also in cloud, you have to have the knowledge of networking, because when you talk about connecting different IP addresses and TCP and IP, all those networks, it also works very well in the cloud. So because cloud computing uses the internet to deliver these services, all these services, it doesn't have to be constrained by physical infrastructure the same way that a traditional data center is. So the whole concept of cloud computing is that it's no longer like a traditional data center. You can access all these services in the cloud, in a virtual space on the internet. Now, that means if you need to increase your IT infrastructure rapidly, you don't have to wait to build a new data center. You can use the cloud to rapidly expand your IT footprint. So, like how I use the instance of the storage, your storage is full. Instead of probably having to get a new laptop where you save more data, you can always just buy more storage. The same thing with virtual machines. Instead of having to get a laptop that has a Linux operating system, you can always just install a virtual machine and deploy Linux operating system on it. So that's how the cloud works. Then this is just shared responsibility model. We're not going to go deeply into cloud, but I'll also send like an article for anybody who wants to know more on the cloud. I'll send it. Then this is a shared responsibility model. This shared responsibility model discusses your responsibility as a user of the cloud. So you're using the cloud, and there are different deployment options. You can either deploy it as infrastructure as a service, a platform as a service, or software as a service, that kind of thing. So, like I said, I'm going to send an article and it's going to really explain cloud, the different deployment and service models. So these are service models: software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. So in that article is going to break down everything you need to know for cloud. And then I think in that article it also has links to places where you can learn it intensively. So now there are cloud computing models. I talked about cloud deployment models and service models. So deployment models are also there. Okay, so there are options for deployment models. How can the cloud be deployed? So the cloud models define the deployment type of cloud resources. And there are basically three main types, which is private, the public, and the hybrid cloud. A private cloud is in some ways the natural evolution for a corporate data center. It's a cloud delivering IT service over the internet that is used by a single entity. So just like the name implies, private cloud, and just like how they said from a corporate data center, it's just like a form of deployment that is meant for just a particular organization. So let's take Dahel for instance. Dahel uses the private cloud model, uses that particular type of model to deliver cloud services and to use cloud services, meaning that it doesn't share any of its services with any other person or any other organization. It's whatever service is provided to Dahel is strictly for Dahel. So, however, it also comes with greater costs and fewer of the benefits of a public cloud deployment. Finally, a private cloud may be hosted from your on-site data center. Then there's all those other things that you can read when I send slides. So the next thing we have is the public cloud. So a public cloud is built, controlled, and maintained by a third-party cloud provider. And with a public cloud, anyone that wants to purchase cloud services can access and use resources. So the general public availability is a key difference between public and private clouds. So like I said before, for private cloud is strictly built for a particular organization or for a particular user. While for a public cloud is not restricted to one user or one single entity. With a public cloud, anyone that wants to purchase a cloud service can access and use it. Then we have for hybrid, just like the name implies, hybrid is a combination of the two. So a hybrid cloud is a computing environment that uses both public and private clouds in an interconnected environment. A hybrid cloud environment can be used to allow a private cloud to surge for increased temporary demand by deploying public cloud resources. So remember, private cloud is more expensive in terms of using cloud services. So there are some services. So let's say that let's say that Dahel is now using a hybrid cloud model. So there would be some resources that they would want to keep private. They want to keep in the private cloud so that it's not easily accessible. Then there would now be those public services that they would use so that they would not pay as much as they would have paid if all the services that they used were in a private cloud model. So hybrid cloud can be used to provide an extra layer of security. So let's say you don't just want to use all public because public is relatively cheaper, but at the same time, you want that extra layer of security. So you now implement private cloud and its services to limit the accessibility that any other cloud user would have. So this is just a link to it. Then this slide also has benefits of cloud computing. We have scalability and flexibility, cost efficiency, accessibility and mobility, reliability and redundancy, security and compliance. So I will not go, I will not, I think we are done for this aspect of understanding the cloud. And even though just really okay, sorry for that. I think my network was interrupted. So, like I said, I'm going to send the slides for the cloud. It's just for you to understand the basics of cloud and how it works. I'm also going to send an article. So everything that you need to understand what cloud is going to be in that article and the slides as well. So I've gone over cloud network and architectures, collaborative case study, and all of that. So cloud aside, we've covered one of our activities for this week. Now we're going to go back to interactive sessions. I cannot really wait to see you guys on Saturday because we're still 8 though. Okay, nobody has joined the game. But okay, I can see pre-sale OD. On Saturday, we're going to be grouped. Everybody will be grouped in teams. So please, if you're on this call and you did not plan to come on Saturday, you should plan to come on Saturday because you guys will be having team assessments and all of that because we are meeting once online and we're also going to meet physically. And physical sessions is just 1 hour. So you guys will be working in teams so that you can cover up the hands-on experience, hands-on learning that I have for you, and then still do it comprehensively so that you sharpen that teamwork aspect of cybersecurity. Because besides the whole technical learning, you have to learn soft skills. So I think at this moment, I would like somebody to tell me what they've learned so far. You guys are saying that you've been learning. Who can tell me what cybersecurity is? And I don't want Nobet and Daniel to take it because you guys see that you guys are already, you've gone far, number one, and you've proven it. You've mentioned a lot of other things that you're doing. So I think I'll take Blessing because she has told us, okay, no, not Blessing. Let's take Abua. Abua has not said anything today. I don't know if you can unmute your mic and briefly tell us what you understand by cybersecurity. You're here. You have to tell us what you understand by cybersecurity.
Everyone, good evening.
Okay. Good evening, sir.
Sorry, I've not been able to say anything because I was in a kind of rowdy environment and just had some space. Yes, and I've just been listening in all this time. But as regarding your question, and just in coincide speak of what I think cybersecurity is, like the word security means a whole lot when it has to do with safeguarding. And when we talk about the virtual space, the online space, the internet, and we attach a word like security to it, it simply means safeguarding of data, safeguarding of privacy, safeguarding of information that has to do with the internet. That's just the concise way I'll put it. Hello? Hello? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you so much for sharing.
Sorry, I'm having network challenges here too.
Yes, I did well. Thank you. So I think I don't know. I think we've covered what I have for us today. There's really nothing else to talk about today. Like I said, the main essence of our session today was to let us know that okay, there is an accountability time day in the week, online session in the week for us, and from next week it's going to be more comprehensive. I really just wanted to see if I can meet a reasonable number of persons today. But okay, we'll just leave that aside and hope that our number will be better by Saturday, so that Saturday we can group ourselves in teams and start working towards achieving the hands-on learning and all of that. So from next week, it's going to be more comprehensive, and online sessions will be for hands-on learning. We cannot be doing the sessions on Saturday because we have just 1 hour allocated to us for those physical sessions. So even though the sessions will be recorded, it would be best if you're in the session to do it live and ask your questions live, because the next time, if it's not online, that you have access to ask any question is during physical training. That's 1 hour. So if you miss out on the online sessions that would be comprehensive and you can be asking your question, ma, I don't understand this part, please, Ononne, I don't understand this part, and then I'll wait and take my time, and then you still cannot meet up in physical sessions. Probably there will be too many people taking, because physical sessions would also be for turning in of assessments. Anything you're doing in teams or in groups, it would not be presented online. We'll be presenting it during our physical sessions. It's already planned out. We'll present it during physical sessions. We'll be doing a lot of presentations and report generation. So it's going to be, that would be where you come and do it. That's what you're going to be doing on Saturday. So let's say 45 minutes down, only 15 minutes left. How will you now come and be asking me this online session that you did, the hands-on that you did, I do not really understand. Even if I give much time to it, how many people would I attend to within the span of the extra hours that I would give to attend to any issues? So please, it's just to encourage us that let's take all the times for learning seriously. Whatever time that we have the online session, please come out for it, and let's take our learning seriously as well. I'm going to give assessments, and I think now I even wish, looking at what the assessments that I have in my head for you guys, I really wish we could start from week 1. But I'll talk to your organizers, and then that syllabus that Daniel spoke about, I think it's actually best if we put it together so that people who actually want to learn ahead, especially because we all have what we are doing besides the training. So if you have any free time, you can just go over it and sharpen your knowledge and skills. So does anybody have any questions? Maybe you need clarity on something, you can raise your hand and then I'll give you the floor. Okay, Mr. Abua, you can unmute your mic.
All right. Thank you very much. It's been quite interesting having to hear you talk and then touching a few things. But just to bring back the last couple of sentences you made concerning assessment and having hands-on training online, the challenge that would pose would certainly be pronounced for us that don't have systems.
Okay, sorry. Please, can you be a bit more audible?
Hello? Hello?
I can hear you.
Okay, so I was saying that the challenge that would pose would be certainly enormous for those of us who don't have systems at the moment. So if we are going to be doing practicals, and because Mr. David has said something about provisions for systems that we could use for sessions, be it offline or online, that's still a thing. So I was just wondering, when you are talking about the live sessions and having to
so
have, okay, go ahead. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you for that. I think that particular one skipped my mind. So for those people who don't have access to systems, one thing that I think we should look into is to get, where if you were there during orientation, there was the call for volunteers for each career path, for each learning track. So if that is one thing that we're also going to, I think even the volunteers can wait aside. But on Saturday, we are going to be grouped in teams, like I said, and the team leaders will be people who have laptops. And then, if possible, we're not even many in the group, we're just 20. So, yes, team leaders will have laptops. We'll make anybody who is a team leader to have laptop and all of that, so that every team leader will be mandated to attend online sessions so that they can learn something like that. And anybody who doesn't have access to systems, when they do, I think Mr. David and his team, I think what they want to do is, we shall get to that part. So that let's say that on Saturdays, laptops can be made available for anybody who does not have access to laptop to learn with their team, so that they can practice it. But that does not mean that you should miss online sessions, because you can be in the online session, you can still take notes, so that when you have access to the laptop, you can follow the steps that you jotted down, try to go at it on your own. Then if you cannot do it on your own, that is when you can now disturb or ask your team leader. And if you don't get a response from your team leader, your teammates, or your colleagues, you can now reach out to me for any assistance. I don't know if that has answered your question.
Yeah, it has. Thank you.
Okay, thank you too. Does anybody have any other questions or concerns? Okay, Mr. Nobet, you can go ahead.
Yes. Concerning the course outline you talked about, especially TCP/IP network control analysis and network security. Are we going to be given softwares? Because I know that there are some softwares that are relevant to what we are learning, especially Mmap and Wireshark and all those other softwares. So, are we going to be exposed to those softwares? Are you going to give it to us? Is it going to be made available by you?
So if you're talking about softwares like Nmap and Wireshark, those ones come with they come with your virtual box, virtual machine, and those installations are plenty, but I'll see what I can do to fulfill that area of your curiosity, because you've been asking me since last Saturday. So I'll see what I can do to fulfill that area of that curiosity. But for networking sessions, your networking practicals, as you're a beginner, I do not advise that you go into it. So take the networking class that you have access to. Learn the basics. Learn OSI model. Learn the different way the IP addresses that are there. Digest the basic concepts. Those ones that you know that okay, if you sit down for network certifications like Network Plus or CCNA, you can ace. So I'm using this language for Nobet because I know that he understands the language since he has been doing his research. So digest for that aspect of CP, IP, all those things. You don't need any practical sessions for now. The only time that you need it is after you finish the basics of cybersecurity. The only thing that I can consider getting for you is the hands-on experience with Linux, since that one is essential. But that networking practicals, you finish the foundations, the ones, the key on that knowledge that you need as a beginner. Then when you finish the cybersecurity foundations, if you now want to specialize in network security, because you mentioned it to me, that is when you can now start looking into getting hands-on with networking, all those networking guinea and then learning the network security that you need. But for now, understand cybersecurity and its concepts. So for the Nmap, Wireshark, all of that, I'll see what I can do. Is that okay?
Yes, very well laid out. Thank you.
Thank you too. So is there anybody who has any more questions? Yeah, Mr. Daniel, you can go ahead.
All right, good evening. Thank you very much, ma. Class has been wonderful, and thank you for taking us through all this. My own is not; it's just contribution and commendation. Since we are running up,
Okay.
thank you very much once again. Uh, you're well detailed, and of course, you have actually proved to us that you have the capacity and everything to take us to where we ought to go. Please, we have beginners in this class. We have people who also have knowledge about it, but you're going to treat us, all of us, as beginners. So all those things, those clinical, let us not confuse ourselves with them. The beginners will get confused when they hear some of those kind of languages. So please, just take your class, take your time, follow the outline, and we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Thank you very much. I'll see you on Saturday.
Okay, thank you so much, Daniel, for that contribution. So, yes, I have it at the back of my mind that there are beginners here, and it's going to be very beginner friendly. So that is why I really have to stress that talking about TCP, IP, softwares, what you have now is cybersecurity foundations. That course that you're taking is what you need at this moment as a beginner, so you can follow through with it. What I am coming to do as a mentor is to give you the hands-on and practical experience that you need alongside with what you're learning in that course. So that is why I'm going to it's going to be strictly beginner friendly. Although the curriculum that was given to me to work with was more than that, but don't worry, I have beginners in mind and it's going to be strictly beginner friendly. By the time you're done, you have what you need. So thank you so much for joining. Does anybody have any other thing to say? Blessing, you've not said anything. Do you have anything to say? Is there any concern that you have?
I'm beginning to love the section already because you've broken down everything to my understanding. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so as I was saying, you've broken down everything to my understanding because I've been going through some online articles and all of that, and I think I'm understanding your own than those other ones I've been going through because you've taken so little to the like even the smallest person can understand. I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
Okay, there's no problem. And I'm happy I can meet that. So please and please and please, let's try and make this. I know that we are just very few here, but let's try and make do of what we have so that by the end, not everybody will finish, but those of us who can finish, let's just try our best. So whether it's Norbert or Mr. Daniel, I don't know.
Please, it's me. There's a little challenge on Saturday. I heard it's sanitation and movement will be restricted from 7 to 10. So I don't know how we are going to be able to commute to that place.
It's true. That's an indication too. Okay. So I'll talk to Mr. David so that we'll move it to 10 o'clock. Would that be okay?
I think there's another class scheduled for that 10, but
Should we move
maybe
it
you
to
can.
10 or we should move it to 11? No, they have to shift their own so that everybody will be accommodated. Because I only have free times on Saturday in the morning, that particular Saturday.
Okay, we
But
can plan one time.
yes, so everything it will be communicated to us by tomorrow. I'll just reach out and let them know.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for that information. Is it Mr. Daniel or Abua who's raising their hand? Okay, so Abua, you can unmute your mic.
Ms. Aquah, thank you very much for your time. One final tip before
Okay.
wrap it up from my end. I just need to know if the outline, the constitution of our syllabus is exactly what is on the courses in our back end offices or back end dashboards. Is that how it's supposed to be on your end? I mean, the entire curriculum that you have for us, is it exactly as the one on the internet where we have Coursera courses?
Okay, so although I'm finding it a bit difficult to hear you, but I think what you asked for was the curriculum for what I'm talking about, Abby.
Yes, I'm trying to find out if the courses we have on our back end dashboards are respecting dashboards as courses. I just want to know if that's the syllable or the curriculum that you have for us. I'm asking so that I know that
Yes, yes,
this
yes.
is exactly what
It's
you're doing,
it's in
what I
line with
am
what
following.
you're supposed to. It's in line with what you're supposed to, what you're learning. So it's just like, okay, you finished learning about cloud security because there's a module for cloud security. Let's say you finish learning about cloud security, then we will now do hands-on. That is, you learn on cloud, you learn with Google, that course that you're taking, you learn it there. What cloud, you learn the all the knowledge without the hands-on, without the practicals. What we will now do is practical experience. You probably create a cloud account, host a particular thing on the cloud, that kind of stuff.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
It's the same thing with Linux. Let's say you learn about what Linux operating system is in the Google Cloud. So we in the session now, you and I, all of us, will now come together, install Linux, and then do practicals in Linux. So you now learn how to use a virtual machine rather than just learning on Google how to use, because what they are doing is to show you in video format. So you will now come and learn it practically with me. Do you understand?
Yeah, I do. I've actually worked with virtual machines while running notes for some projects. So I have a fair
Okay,
knowledge of it. I do.
okay, that's nice. Okay, that's nice. That's fine. I think on Saturday, Mr. David, they are saying that there is sanitation on Saturday and there will be no movement till 10. So I think that's something that should be looked at. Whether we would move the cloud physical cybersecurity training to another day, or we move
We
the
will have
class.
our class on Saturday.
Okay, by what time? Because sanitation would last till
Still,
10.
still same time. Their class is supposed to start by 10. So those who are complaining about sanitation, one question I always want to ask them is, how many of them will actually go and clean the environment?
No, the thing is, usually when it's like that, movement is restricted. So
Let's wait
someone
and
can go out
see
that would
until
not
start.
find. Okay, okay, there's no problem.
Let's wait and see.
It's fine.
Because if
So I
we
think
say
we've
we
gotten
want
our
to,
response.
yeah, okay.
So guys, we've gotten our response. The time is still the same time, 10 a.m. So I think we can all go. We can call it a day today and we'll see ourselves on Saturday. Thank you for joining and good night, everybody.
Good night too.
Thank you for presenting. Good night.
Thank you, the CEO of Dahel. Thank you too for joining us. Good to have you in our
Thank
class.
you for your time.
Yes.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you.